Everyone thought that he was a lonely salaryman, but he gets transported into another world with unlimited magical powers. Liam was an average salaryman in a dead-end job who ends up dozing off at work, but when he wakes up, he finds himself in a totally different world with nobles and high-class people having a drink while a maid tries to wake him up. He is utterly confused at this and wonders whether this is all a dream. But the maid keeps telling him that he should greet the guests for the party. Liam decides to have a look in the mirror because a TikTok said that it can end dreams, but he is shocked to see the reflection of a young boy staring back at him. The maid is a little worried about this little incel when his father walks towards him and tells him to get his together and do his looks-maxing routine later. Liam is totally surprised by that, but slowly realizes that he has been transported to a different world where he is the fifth son of a noble family. The party going on right now is for the birth of his sister since all four of his older siblings are boys. He decides to sleep it off, hoping that he would wake back into the real world. But that doesn't happen as he wakes up still in the child's body. He decides to go out into the balcony where the maid tells him that all the land in front of him belongs to his family. Liam can't believe his eyes as he wonders how rich they actually are while the maid looks at him confused. Later he meets up with his older siblings. Bruno, the fourth son of the family and a total dumbass pimp, already starts planning to marry their sister into the royal family to secure their own future. He explains that their father and oldest brother are currently trying to serve the nation in some way as according to the laws of this country. Every noble family needs to do something which serves the nation, otherwise they will lose their status. Unfortunately, their dumbass father hasn't done anything of importance yet, even though he is in the third generation, which means that if they don't do anything, they will be stripped of their noble status and become commoners. Bruno also tells him that their oldest brother Alb tried becoming a storytime TikToker, but the Sigma King called him a beta bitch, which makes their job to impress the king even harder. Before they can talk more though, and their magic teacher enters the room with a book in his hands. Liam gets insanely excited at the thought of learning magic, but Bruno tells him to calm down since only a very few people manage to perform magic. Liam doesn't give a shit about his pimp of a brother, however, and immediately rushes outside and asks the maid to show him to the library. Inside the library, he finds a bunch of books on magic, so he randomly picks one out. He starts reading the book and tries out a basic fire spell, which to his own surprise, he succeeds in. He manages to make his hand into a stupid candle while the maid congratulates him on his first spell. He immediately goes to meet his father in his study and asks whether he can take out the books from the library. But Liam's father doesn't care about his dumbass fifth child, just like my dad, and tells him to do whatever he wants. Liam cusses him out in his mind and leaves with all the books needed. He starts practicing magic every single day in his own room and slowly starts getting better. He starts learning more complex magic, and after a month, he reaches a point where he is able to perform flame magic without even looking at the magic books. Bruno the pimp is really impressed by this, since even the people who manage to learn magic take at least a year to cast the simplest spells without the magic book. He takes the magic book and tries to cast magic on his own, but his pathetic ass can't even cast the simplest of magic even with the books. Bruno hands Liam the book, claiming that he can do great stuff with magic and advance in the society, which Liam doesn't really care about, and heads back to the library to get the ice spell book. While on his way to his room, he ends up getting stopped by his father, who demands to know whether he has learned how to use magic. Liam gets a little nervous and prematurely ejaculates a little bit of ice magic on the book. Liam's father doesn't seem impressed by this and asks whether that's all he could do, but Liam decides to show his brain-rotted father the true limits of his skill, and casts the Flame Cutter spell without the book, which shocks and impresses his father. He immediately becomes happy and tells Liam to get as many magic books as he wants before leaving. Liam seems happy to know that his father liked him, but on the way into the forest he ends up stumbling upon a man in a white jacket, who asks whether he is from the noble Hamilton family. Liam tells him that he is the fifth son when the man asks whether he is here to capture him. Liam doesn't have any idea what this weird-ass man is talking about, but he doesn't want to get baby oiled by Diddy, so he tries to leave. The man, however, ends up stopping him as he claimed that he can show him a more efficient way to do magic. Liam immediately gets interested, and the man suddenly uses all 5 different elemental magic at once. Liam is shocked to the core by this, and just as impressed as he begs the man to teach him. The man agrees and tells Liam to draw a circle and a square at the same time to make sure he is not dyslexic. After that test, he tells Liam the trick to perform such magic, and to his surprise, Liam manages to use both the flame ball and the flame cutter magic at once. The mysterious man is shocked as this technique can only be performed by 1 in a million people, and he just wanted to flex his skill on a kid. Liam then tries to use 3 different magic spells at once, and even though he manages to succeed, his stamina is too low and his magic powers run out. The man tells him not to worry about it as he will slowly get better, and shows that his current limit is to use 13 spells at once, but he is trying to cast 16 spells at once. Liam is impressed by this, so the man decides to hand him a Samsung Galaxy ring which contains a shit ton of magic books. Liam gets excited by this and tries a wind magic spell which works flawlessly, but when he turns around to thank the man, he mysteriously disappears just like my dad. Suddenly, the maid comes towards Liam, asking whether he is fine, since they have heard that a mysterious man was spotted on their property. Liam lies that he was alone, so the maid hands him a new magic book and tells him to be careful before leaving. Liam wonders what was that about when suddenly the man reappears claiming that he simply made himself invisible. He then looks at the book and tells Liam to try and cast a spell while wearing the galaxy ring. Liam follows the orders and summons a flaming salamander, which immediately gets sucked in by the ring like a pokeball. Liam realizes that he can save any spell he wants in this ring, so he starts summoning as many Pokémons as possible before saving them in his ring. He turns around to thank the man, but he disappears once again with a note telling him to keep his mouth shut. A month passes by after that incident and Liam starts getting better at controlling his magic, as he creates charcoal with the help of his spirits and also some mana crystals. Bruno ends up spotting him in the forest and checks the things that he made and claims that these skills will make him an independent person. After that, this incel happily claims that he is getting married to a low-ranking noble family. But even though they are poorer, Bruno will still have more independence and will also pop his cherry finally. Liam is happy to hear that, but Bruno tells him that he should also start looking for ways to get independence. He explains that before Liam was born, his father really wanted a daughter to marry into the royal family, but his plans failed as Liam was born a boy. Out of desperation, his father collected 1,000 soldiers and launched an attack on the Dragon of the Hills, but even though he managed to seal the monster, he ended up losing 90% of his soldiers. Bruno claims that even though Alb and their father are trying everything desperately, he personally thinks that the Hamilton family is over and Liam should secure his own future. Liam thanks him for the advice and leaves into the city to sell his stuff off and get some money. After getting a fair deal, he gets some lunch at a local noodle shop when he suddenly gets an idea and rushes back to his own home. He enters the kitchen and hands his servants a pack of instant ramen and tells them to try it. The servants are impressed by this new creation, while this capitalistic pig starts thinking about how he can turn this world into America with 50% obesity. He immediately rushes off to sell the instant ramen in the local shops, but they refuse to buy his product since his oldest brother Alb has put a restriction on him from selling his stuff. Liam leaves sadly, while Alb walks out from behind the counter, cursing Liam for being so good at magic. Liam, on the other hand, wonders what he could do now and decides to try something out. He has recently learned a storage box spell which can store a ton of stuff inside and can also teleport it somewhere else. Liam decides to use his magic unconventionally and creates a clone of himself which he sends off to a different kingdom not controlled by the Hamilton family. The clone ends up selling everything and puts all the money back in the storage box, which Liam can easily take out at will. In this way, Liam, the capitalist pig, invented slavery in this new world as well. A couple days pass by as Liam keeps practicing with his own illusions and gets even stronger than before. Suddenly, one day Alb approaches him and claims that he has been hearing a lot of good things about him and asks what he wants to be when he grows up. Liam immediately gets alert since he knows that Alb thinks Liam is trying to become the next family head instead of him, so he simply says that he wants to find a job and earn money. This answer seems to satisfy Alb as he tells Liam that he will introduce him to the Hunters Guild. Liam is really happy about it since he will become an adventurer, this way whose job will be to hunt down monsters. The very next day, he visits the Hunters Guild, and where all the adventurers start mocking him for being a short king. But Liam keeps his head up high and his middle finger higher as he walks up to the guildmaster. The man tells him that even if he is a noble, he can only take the jobs befitting his rank and asks Liam to show him how strong he is by attacking him. The guildmaster clearly underestimates Liam, so Liam decides to go easy on him and shoots some low-level fireballs around him. This shocks every single person in the guild, including the guildmaster, who claims that with his skills, Liam easily deserves to be a B-ranked adventurer. Soon he leaves the guild with a shiny new badge as he wonders how strong B-ranked adventurers actually are. While walking though, he ends up being stopped by a gold-digging ethot named Osna, who asks whether he is truly a son of the Hamilton family and whether she can join his party. At the end of the day, Liam is still a guy and jugs are jugs, so he agrees like a total simp and heads off into the forest for their first mission. The moment they enter the deep forest though, they immediately come face to face with a giant wolf beast. The furry hoe immediately jumps into action and takes out her knives, when to her surprise, a bunch of other wolves also appear from the bushes, completely surrounding them. Asuna gets worried, but Liam tells her to calm down and busts out his magic Pokémons that the wolves immediately grab between their jaws. Suddenly, though, the Pokémon start swelling up like my wife after marriage, completely incapacitating the poor wolves, after which Asuna makes short work of the beasts. They haul back a huge load of 42 dead wolves, completely shocking everyone including the guildmaster, who immediately hires them for a job. Both Asuna and Liam soon leave for the task at hand, which is to defeat a caterpillar monster which has been blocking a major route of trade. Asuna is pretty happy, but also scared since monsters are much different than normal beasts since they have a magic stone inside of them which gives them immense power and special abilities. Liam, however, is still optimistic, but his optimism changes when he finally finds the caterpillar whose body is basically made out of metal, making all of their attacks completely worthless. Neither physical nor magical attacks seem to work on the giant monster when Liam gets an idea and decides to give it another go. He soon instructs Asuna to act as bait, and once the monster is in position, he takes out his item box and creates a huge boulder, killing the caterpillar immediately. They soon return back to the city, producing not one but 2 dead caterpillars. The guildmaster is shocked, but Liam claims that he simply used his enemy search skill to find the other one as well. The guildmaster is impressed and ends up giving them a huge bonus. A couple of days later, Alb and his father arrive in the city to wait for a very high-ranking person. The man walks out of his carriage towards Liam's father, but takes a quick glance at Liam as well. Liam feels a little uneasy, and his feelings turn right as he is called by the man who asks where did he get the ring he has. It turns out that the mysterious man who taught Liam was a highly skilled mage named Raymond, who this man knew from earlier. The old man laughs at this and then tells Liam to attack his servant with as much power as possible since he wants to check his strength. The butler man goes into the corner and stands as Liam charges up 11 attacks at once and hits the servant with a barrage of fireballs, breaking his barrier and hurting him. The jackass old man, however, simply laughs at this, claiming that Liam is already strong enough. He asks Liam what he wants to do when he grows up, and when Liam claims that he wants to be independent, the old man immediately decides to knight him so that he can gain his independence already. After that, one day when Liam was practicing his item box magic, he ends up finding a letter inside which was from Raymond, claiming that he wants to give Liam a graduation gift. He claims that he has put 100 kilograms gold into the lake he just emptied and Liam needs to find a way to get that out. Liam racks his brain for a while, realizing that it couldn't have been gold bars, so he follows his hunch and commands the box to release the gold dust powder, which turns out to be the correct answer. Soon a trapdoor beneath him opens, leading him to a dungeon where he finds a very old magic book and a letter claiming that Raymond was never able to use it, so he is passing it on to Liam in the hopes that he might be able to use it. Liam is overjoyed at this and starts practicing the otherworldly magic spells, but even after trying multiple times, he keeps failing. Several days pass by when finally Liam manages to produce a magic spell from the book named Another World. This creates a magical door which takes him to a different dimension where he can hide himself or anything he wants. He realizes that this spell can have endless possibilities, so he happily continues practicing. Another month passes by when on one of their adventures while fighting against a frog monster, all of Liam's attacks fail as the frog decides to self-destruct, realizing that there is no way out. He quickly creates the door in which he hides alongside Asuna as the frog destroys everything in the area. Asuna realizes that she would have died if not for Liam's magic, which makes her doubt her own strength. They soon recover the magic stone and head back to the guild, where the guildmaster is shocked since it wasn't a ranked task. Realizing that Asuna is doubting her skills, The guildmaster suggests that she forms a contract with Liam as his familiar, which is basically a slave which will help her gain levels faster. Asuna, the power-hungry hoe, immediately agrees, and soon the guildmaster goes through with a spell, binding them in a contract. This ends up being very beneficial for her since she gains a unique skill which makes her faster than the Flash. Realizing this, Asuna decides to take Liam over to her friend named Jody, who was a veteran adventurer herself. She decides to enter a contract with Liam as well, and to everyone's surprise, even she ends up getting a unique skill which helps her cure any wound with her cooking. This is basically a miracle, and soon the information about this spreads all over the kingdom. Several days later, the old man invites Liam over for some tea and claims that the Princess Scarlet of their kingdom is very interested to see his slaves perform for her, but Liam refuses, claiming that they are his friends and not in a circus before leaving. The old man immediately apologizes, as it turns out that the princess was disguised as a servant, and watching this young boy defy a princess's order make her even more interested in him. The next day, Liam is called to meet Princess Scarlet, who immediately strikes him as a nasty bitch with a toxic personality. As soon as he finishes giving his greetings, she arranges a chair for him and then tells him to recite the story of how he defeated the giant caterpillars and frogs. Liam is relieved because this is an easy request, and the princess is really impressed that he managed to defeat such powerful monsters without even knowing high-level magic spells. Liam suddenly feels a tent in his pants at the mention of high-level magic spells, but then Scarlet snaps him back to reality, asking about his contract magic. She asks if he can show it to her, and Liam is not going to fold just because this bitch has royal authority. He refuses Scarlet's request, clearly telling her that his friends aren't circus performers. Scarlet suddenly laughs, saying that Liam is indeed an amusing person who entertained her twice. She declares that he will be rewarded for this, and immediately grants him the title of a baron. Liam is bamboozled because he knows that he hasn't done to deserve this promotion, but Scarlet tells him that he made her laugh twice, and that is enough of an accomplishment. She also gifts him a magic book about familiar contract magic, and Liam is truly thrilled to receive it. Later, as he goes to the forest to learn the magic in the book, Bruno comes there to pay him a visit. He gives him some birthday bumps to congratulate him for becoming a noble, and then says that Alb must be cursing himself right now because he helped Liam obtain a higher title than their father. Liam tells Bruno that he still is a baron, which is a lower rank than his father, but Bruno explains that the first-gen nobles who obtain the title by achieving something are considered higher ranking than those who got it handed down to them by their dads. At night, as Liam goes back home, he runs into Alb, who is boiling over with rage and jealousy. He scoffs as he passes Liam, and then swears that he will do something that will show everyone that he is better. The next day, Liam meets up with Asuna and Jody, both of whom start calling him master and asking him to do unholy things to them. This makes all the men in the city jealous, and Liam finds it hard to endure their gazes. So he takes his girls for monster hunting. Jody is an archer who pins down the wolves while Asuna quickly finishes them off. Jody remarks that her eyesight has improved a lot after the contract, and that is a really great thing for an archer. Liam decides to improve her eyesight even further with an enchantment spell, basically turning her eyes into telescopes. She evolves from a mid-ranged archer to a sniper and earnestly thanks Liam for that. Soon, they return to the guild and find that everyone is in a hurry. They ask one man what is happening, and he replies that the dumbass Alb messed up badly. He removed the seal of the powerful monster sealed in their territory, and too many people have gotten seriously injured because of that. Liam immediately realizes that Alb took this foolish step because he was jealous of him, and he runs to the mountains where he sees dozens of injured soldiers, and even Alb is on a stretcher. As soon as he sees Liam, grabs his collar and says that he won't lose to him. But then the guildmaster bonks him and puts him to sleep because he doesn't want to hear another word that comes out of this idiot's mouth. Asuna asks him what are they dealing with, and the guildmaster tells her that decades ago, Liam's great-grandpa sealed a dragon fiend in the mountains, but now Alb has removed the seal. The dragon fiend radon itself is quite weak after being sealed off for such a long time, and the real problem are his offsprings who have hurt all the soldiers. The guildmaster says that he has arranged the people who can reseal the dragon fiend, but as long as they don't deal with the kids first, it won't be possible. Liam and the girls go to where the dragons are, and Asuna charges ahead to deal with the dragon kids that are smaller than she expected. However, their fire breath is really powerful and it can turn a tree into ash within seconds. Liam tells Asuna to get back and then shoots fireballs at the dragon kids, but they counter it. He realizes that they can't win, and the girls suggest that they retreat. Suddenly, the dragon kids charge at them, and Liam gets an idea. He tells the girls to run away as fast as they can, and then summons the magic book to open the door to the pocket dimension right in front of the dragon kids. They dive right into the pocket dimension without thinking about it, and Liam instantly dispels it. The baby dragons disappear with that, and everyone rejoices because they now have a clear chance at victory. As the magicians cast the seal around the dragon, Asuna and Jody ask Liam about the spell he used earlier. He tells them about the spell and how he can store things in a pocket dimension. He says that since he has not completely mastered the spell, the things inside the pocket dimension may vanish, and that means they won't have to worry about the baby dragons. Asuna starts fawning over Liam because of this, when suddenly, he hears a voice calling him. He turns around and finds that it is the dragon fiend Radon who is talking to him. He is shocked and asks how can this happen, but Radon has more important questions for him. He can sense that Liam's body and soul don't match, and he can also read his mind to learn that he is from another world. Liam is still processing this development, but Radon has taken an interest in him. He asks Liam to take him along and show him the kind of future he can create, and assures that he can help him with his power. Liam accepts the proposal because he doesn't get any bad vibes from the dragon. Radon then suddenly turns into mana and enters Liam's body, getting engraved on his hand as a tattoo. Liam can feel energy overflowing from his body, and he immediately gets to test it. He shoots 11 magic missiles without incantation, and when he chants a spell, he can fire 17 of them with perfect control. He is amazed by this, but then he sees all the magicians wheezing and coughing like they forgot their asthma meds this morning. Radon tells Liam to absorb his mana into his body because it is overwhelming the others. Liam does that quickly, and the magicians finally breathe in peace. The guild master thanks him for handling the case so well, and Liam apologizes for the inconvenience his stupid older brother caused for everyone. He decides to make it up to the injured people by donating 10 kilos of gold. Later that night, Liam's dad thanks him for taking care of the mess Alb created. Liam is curious about what will happen to him now, and his dad replies that he will stay under house arrest for the time being, and he will think about his punishment seriously. Liam feels bad for his brother and goes to his room to talk, but doesn't go inside as he hears Alb screaming that it should have been him to revive the Hamilton family and not Liam. Liam realizes that his brother just cared about his family name, and that made him into such a prick. He decides to leave him undisturbed and goes to bed. As he wakes up the next morning, he realizes that he got 2 new exciting spells after forming a contract with Radon. He immediately rushes to the forest to practice them, and after working hard all day, he manages to master just one of the spells. This spell allows him to summon the baby dragon from the pocket dimension, and it is really friendly and obedient now. As the baby dragon is cuddling with Liam, he hears a surprised voice asking if he can do holy magic too. She tells him that she is here for important business. First, she tells Liam that defeating a dragon is a big accomplishment, but the old men in power won't allow her to give him a bigger title than a baron. That is why she is going to grant him the title of a hero candidate, because that will not only help him, but also make the public be at ease. Scarlet then asks Liam to tell her the story of how he defeated the dragon, and he tells her about making a contract with it. This shocks the princess, because now she is certain that Liam can use holy magic, and if that news gets out, it can become a huge burden on him. So she orders him to keep this story a secret from everyone until she says so. Liam has no choice but to agree, but the next morning, he gets the price from the princess for keeping his mouth shut, and it is a treasure chest containing 3,000 gold coins. A couple days later, the old man James comes to see Liam and asks him if he can use holy magic. Liam stutters as he tries to come up with an answer because Princess Scarlet has paid him to stay silent. However, James tells him that the princess is too young and inexperienced to handle such big matters. He says that the amount of money she gifted Liam was enough to make him suspicious. On top of that, Scarlet would normally have reported Liam's achievement of stopping a dragon fiend to her father immediately to get him a promotion, but she did not, which meant she was hiding something. On being pressed by James to reveal the details, Liam finally folds, and he admits that after absorbing the power of the dragon fiend Radon, he got some holy magic spells. James is curious to see them, and Liam uses the all-clear spell that dispels all negative effects from its target, including poisoning and petrification. James is impressed by this and then decides to give Liam an important history lesson. He begins talking about the War of Three Dragons that happened many centuries ago. The dragon that could use holy magic won the war, and then it joined a human who could borrow the dragon's holy magic. That human went on to establish a country, and it is the country in which they live. Liam is a bit confused by how this story fits his context, but James asks him what comes to his mind when he hears that the dragon joined a human. This kinky son of a says that he imagined the dragon marrying the human and having children together, but turns out the rest of the humans are the same. They also thought the same thing, but now James believes that it was the other way round. He tells Liam that he absorbed the dragon into his body, therefore joining it. Liam thinks that his words make sense, and James says that he has the potential to recreate the legend of their country's foundation. That also makes the old man worry about two things, the first concerning the Hamilton family. He tells Liam that his great-grandfather got the title of a noble by sealing Radon, but in case he turns out to be the dragon that helped in founding their kingdom, this achievement would be immediately taken back, and in the worst case, their noble status would be dissolved. However, that is the smaller problem, because James fears that the dragon may be angry and plotting revenge against their country for being sealed. Liam understands the logic behind that, but then he recalls that when he called Radon a dragon fiend earlier, he calmly told him that he doesn't care about what humans call him because they give him a new title every few centuries. He concludes that Radon isn't angry at the kingdom, and James thinks it is all because of Liam who properly talked to the dragon and freed him. The next day, as Liam goes to the guild, his Asuna and Jody are eagerly waiting for him. As soon as they see him, they drag him away from the guild because a lot of people are showing interest in him after he defeated the dragon. All of them want to join Liam's party so that he can carry them, and the girls ask him to be careful about letting anyone join the party. That is not all, because as Liam reaches home, he finds a fat stack of Tinder profiles of the girls that want to marry him, or at least their families want them to. Liam is a bit overwhelmed by this, and then Bruno the pimp comes there to marry Liam to his wife's distant cousin. Liam somehow dodges all the marriage offers and goes to Asuna and Jody to show them something special. He takes them to the forest, and they hope he is going to show them his foot-long sausage. But instead, he takes them inside his pocket dimension, which has a house inside it now. He tells them that he got it made from some carpenters in another city and then put it in, and since he has mastered the another world skill, the things in this dimension won't vanish. He then gives the girls a tour of the house and explains what positions they will do at each location. Jody thinks that this place is too bright, and Liam decides to experiment on ways to set the lighting just right. He first summons a shadow spirit that turns the entire dimension pitch black, and then uses a salamander to light up the fireplace for some natural light and warmth. Jody is still not satisfied, but the low-level shade spirit can't control the darkness level. Asuna says that she hopes spirits could evolve like them, and that gives Liam the idea to turn the shade spirit into its familiar. Just as he makes a contract with it, the spirit evolves and gains the ability to talk and manipulate darkness better. It swears its loyalty to Liam for making it evolve into a medium-level spirit, but Liam says that he can't summon him again because he doesn't know the spells for summoning medium-level spirits. The shade spirit tells him to use his ring to store him and then practice till he can summon him freely. Liam likes the idea and he immediately sucks the spirit inside. Next, he evolves the salamander into Charizard's distant cousin and sucks him inside the ring as well. He then evolves and stores one spirit of each element and obtains the medium-level spirit summoning magic that is incredibly valuable. The next day, Liam goes to the forest because Radon has sent him there on a mission. Suddenly, Radon calls out to him and asks him to summon his kid. Liam does just that, and the baby dragon suddenly takes him to the hidden forest of the fairies. The fairies flee as soon as they see a human, but when Liam tells them that Radon sent him, they start trusting him. Liam has learned from Radon that fairies are in danger of being hunted because their wings are sold for a very high price. That is why the dragon wanted him to protect the fairies in his place by erecting a barrier to hide them, and by giving them names because it is one of the natural magic spells that all humans can do. Liam first uses the familiar contract spell on a fairy and names her Rihanna, which causes her to evolve into an elf. Even Rihanna is surprised because it is a huge jump, and Liam doesn't understand anything about it. Radon tells him that when he named the fairy along with the contract magic, the effect became stronger. He advises Liam to always name creatures he forms a contract with from now on. After seeing one of their sister become an elf, all the fairies are eager to get named by Liam. He names them all as he turns them into his familiars, and soon, everyone is an elf. Rihanna acts like their leader and asks Liam how they can serve him as his familiars, and not having any task for them, he simply tells them to build a village and live here. The elves eagerly start planning their village, and Liam feels tired after using too much mana. As he is about to take a rest, he feels a strange magic power deep in the forest. He follows the power's direction and soon finds a magic fruit hanging from a tree. Rihanna comes there and tells him that whenever fairies have free time, they gather the magic in the air and gather it in one place. Radon tells Liam to try it, and he gets permission from Rihanna to eat the fruit. Just as he takes a bite, he feels energy overflowing inside it. He tries shooting some missiles and finds that he can shoot 19 of them at once now. The next day, he visits the elves again, and they eagerly greet him, but all the enthusiasm leaves their body as they show Liam their miserable attempt at building a house. Suddenly, they hear a scream and run to its source to find that some bandits have captured an elf. Liam runs towards them, telling them to leave the girl, but they decide to give him a reality check. One bandit attacks him, but Liam just hits him away with the magic missiles. The other two bandits decide to tag team him, but Liam summons his shadow clone, and their combined attack knocks both the bandits out. Liam then decides to temporarily send the elves into the pocket dimension because the forest is not safe for them. He worries that there is not enough space for them there, but to his surprise, the pocket dimension has expanded because he ate the magic fruit yesterday. He tells the girls to get inside, and then brings them out on his territory so that the bandits can't attack them. The elves are amazed at his abilities, and they kneel before him, begging him to be their king and lead them. They promise to do whatever he wants if he becomes their king, and the pervert decides to take up the offer. While he gives the elves some instant ramen to eat, he begins practicing the other high-level holy spell he got from Radon. It has been 4 days since he started practicing it, but he has not been able to use it even once. Suddenly, he has his eureka moment, and he finally learns how to perform the spell. He gathers the elves around and then uses the newly learned spell, which is actually teleportation magic, to bring them to an isolated patch of land 100 kilometers away from his home. His clone was already waiting for him there, and that was how Liam was able to set this place as his destination for the teleportation magic. He dispels the clone, and then Radon tells him to use the power of his crest on the surrounding area. Just as Liam does that, a seal hiding the true appearance of the land is shattered. The elves are happy to see that they are going to live in a lush forest, and Radon tells Liam that this is one of the locations he sealed. Liam asks the reason for that, but Radon falls silent, so he doesn't pry further. After that, the elf girls get busy finding places to build houses, and Liam practices his teleportation spell to master it. After many tries, he is able to reduce the duration to cast it to 0 seconds. He decides to head back home, and leaves the 3 baby dragons to guard the elves. Once he reaches home, he is paid a visit by Scarlet, who asks him if the dragon inside him has mentioned anything about the promised land. Liam says that he has not, but reveals that he has mentioned the sealed lands. He also tells her about the elves, and Scarlet wants to see them. Liam has a favor to ask her before that, and that involves meeting a skilled engineer to help the elves build a village. Scarlet introduces him to a dwarf who is the court engineer, and Liam creates his clone to take him along to the elf village. Once they reach the forest, Scarlet asks Radon if this is the promised land, but he doesn't give a definite answer. Scarlet says that according to legend, when humanity is on the brink of destruction, they will find shelter in the promised land. She takes out a ring that is the key for their salvation, and it resonates with Liam's tattoo. He asks to hold it, and just as he touches it, the island starts to float. There is no doubt in Scarlet's mind now, and she kneels before Liam, swearing loyalty to him because he is the master of the promised land, and requests him to create a country here that will save everyone. If you liked this video, please consider subscribing and watch the video on your screen next.